Where are you people taking me?
Somewhere safe. Forgive me. I know I don't quite compare to my holographic counterpart, but it's a nice trick for the shareholders.
Dr. Tarleton?
In the flesh.
Why did you hack our servers?
I didn't steal anything.
And what were you looking for? The cure, perhaps? Kamala, AIM only wants to free us from being at the mercy of the powerful. Subjectivity. Unlimited power, that's dangerous. It's lethal. A-Day was a prime example. You are lucky to be alive. But with technology, we can right their wrongs. We can give you back your normal life.
Look, I just guessed a password, okay? I didn't think I'd actually get in.
She is clearly violent. Her infection must be getting worse.
What? I didn't mean to hurt anyone.
Of course not. But what happens when you lose control again? What happens when you hurt someone that you love? Even the Avengers had to suffer for their hubris.
Hey, were you there? I mean, when Cap died. Were you there?
Yes. Luckily, Monica found me on the command deck. Her regenerative formula saved my life. Come on, Kamala. Let's do this. Yes? Let AIM help you.
I'll take my chances.
Damn it, George! Get the girl, now!
Well done, Kamala. You just outed yourself as an inhuman. Stupid. What were you thinking, huh? Join the Resistance? Become some kind of hero? I can't go home. I'll make Abu, they'll punish them for hiding me. I really messed up. Utah. The old shield base. The Resistance has to know what to do.
You have been identified as an illegal inhuman. Surrender now, and you will not be harmed.
Authorities are currently on the hunt for an inhuman linked to an assault in Europe.
Finding maneuvers.
5 feet 4 inches, 125 pounds, with brown eyes.
There's nowhere to hide. I have to get out of town.
And contact with local AIM officials.
Take that!
Reinforcements required.
Okay, let's do this.
Kamala Khan, please surrender to AIM authorities.
You want to see powers? Here we go.
Positive ID. Assailant is
Gave me away.
ranged combat recommended.
Are those grenades?
Reinforcements engaged.
Why don't we give our new friends? Great, my favorite. Bad Nice try, but I practiced for this.
Fire projectile.
Come on, Nakia. Cover for me. Say I went on the retreat with you. Bye, Jersey.
Subject 1102 can clone herself almost perfectly, with the exception of a slight color variation in the eyes.
The cells are splitting down the center, creating two separate individuals. It's like the planarian flatworm, only human.
Exactly. And can retain all the memories of the original subject. 0925 can create powerful bursts of energy, and there's at least a half a dozen with fire-based abilities. We're building an arsenal.
Programmable power under our control. No more heroes, no more mistakes.
It's time for another dose.
I feel fine.
You were in a coma for 6 months. Earlier, you could barely contain your cough. A few more doses of my regenerative formula, and your treatment will be complete.
They still light candles at the base of that statue. If not for that hammer, I'd have torn the thing down.
Leave it. Why have the public thinking you're still worried about the Avengers? Let my people handle it. We have Adaptoid to launch.
You're right.
This version may be a bit more potent.
Is it stabilized?
Almost.
This is incredible!
You have reached Yusuf Khan. Please, leave a message and I will return your call.
Hey, Abu. So I took your advice. I'm with Nakia and the others on the retreat. Can you believe there's no cell service out here? I had to hike all the way up to this payphone to make this phone call. Anyway, you're right. We're having a blast. I'll be home late Sunday. Promise I'll be good. Love you more. All the conspiracy theories online point to this canyon as the Resistance home base. They're the only chance I've got. At least I know someone's been out here anyway. It's like me to travel across the country chasing rumors. These rumors are all I got. Aim's out here too? I have to hurry. Finally! Something not made of rock. Is this a good sign or a bad one? Resistance. This is where they are. It's gotta be. No. AIM found them first. Got here first. Hello? This was their base. But where are they now? Maybe they got away before. No. Some must have escaped. They have to be around here somewhere. Better keep looking. Just need to get up high and see where I'm at.
You have been selected to work with extremely confidential data on the basis of your intellect and abilities. New personnel at the Terrigen Initiative are expected to be familiar with all prior findings with regard to the experimental regenerative Terrigen hemoglobin catalyst formula, henceforth the regenerative formula. The company intranet has an archive of all previous research. The applications will become clear, but for the purposes of security and shareholder obligations, we filter our results. The primary goal must always appear to be the complete cure of the inhuman condition through use of the formula, even if your work takes you in another, more important direction. We at AIM have certain expectations of you. Failure to live up to expectations at this stage puts you in a dangerous position, operationally speaking. You have all been through rigorous vetting. We are working with arguably the most important discovery in the history of scientific inquiry. Do not disappoint. Although we must always acknowledge the loss of human life on A-Day, we have been given an unprecedented opportunity, a large-scale human trial on the effects of exposure to Terrigen. Terrigen has an immediate reaction to water, creating a fine particulate mist. For a fraction of human subjects, this Terrigen mist has a profound transformative effect. We have since isolated a mitochondrial DNA shared by this subgroup. Thus far, only those we have dubbed inhuman have entered Terrigenesis upon exposure. A closer examination of inhumans is underway, but the early reports are both fascinating and distressing. The genetic distinction in question arise identically from multiple geographically diverse populations. I've tightened the security on these reports, but it seems almost inescapable. At some point in the past, someone or something did this to us on purpose. Our understanding of Terrigenesis continues to increase, with certain commonalities being identified. All inhuman subjects form a protective cocoon around their bodies during the process, though the structure is more akin to a chrysalis. I'm afraid the catchier name has stuck. The gestation period varies wildly, and the mortality rate is still high. But surviving subjects emerge changed, and from there, no two metamorphoses are identical. There also appears to be a psychosomatic component to the mutations, a connection between the consciousness of the subject and the change. Work with the regenerative formula on Project Adaptoid advances in parallel, with great strides being made in the mimicry of inhuman abilities. That research group must remain isolated from the rest, and away from any diagnostic equipment that would allow study of the regenerative formula itself. This level of secrecy is prohibitive to progress, but the composition of the formula must remain known to me alone. The inhuman death rate is concerning, but more worrying is the apparent correlation between the subject's desires and their individual manifestation post-Terrigenesis. The more a subject is aware of the program and its risks, the more likely their enhancements will assist them in escape or resistance. We must be cautious. Keeping subjects isolated and ill-informed is the smartest approach. It's also becoming difficult to keep George unaware of the regenerative formula's importance in our research, or in his own treatment. Without it, his condition would be terminal. But the formula allows me to direct the course of his transformation, and he remains my most important subject. He would kill me if he learned the truth. So many little calculated risks, but nothing else matters besides the work. We're on the event horizon of nothing less than total human evolutionary apotheosis, or extinction. Someone has to be the adult in the room and make the hard choices. AIM has scraped together enough vibranium to continue research into quantum causality for now. If the implications of our early tests are correct, we may be rewriting the common conception of linear time before the decade is out, but we will soon need a new supply. I've made initial overtures to the Wakandan government now that I am in a position to do so, but I don't believe it will amount to much. We will need far more than they will part with, willingly. Tarleton continues to act like my prominence in public life is something I desired, not something I endure. Before A-Day, I mirrored his resentment at being sidelined by Tony and the Avengers. I let that be our bond, a false longing for credit and fame. As if I didn't manufacture the situation to position myself exactly where I wanted to be. People are always willing to believe that you share the same desires. From there, it's all momentum and inertia. A gentle push here, a single word there. Then you let them do the work and think it was their idea all along. People can be so easy. I have enough of a foundation in psychiatry and human behavior to diagnose and categorize my own particular mental illnesses and pathology. I am not deluded. I know that chemistry can render my mind suboptimal, and that I must take responsibility for maintenance. Once, to eliminate the possibility of confirmation bias, I hired the best psychologist I could find and allowed unfettered access. I could tell she was horrified, but she hid it well. It was a waste. She refused to believe that I was not made who I am by trauma. She needed so badly for there to be some answer, a clear causation to my need to control, a reaction to a stimulus. The real answer, of course, scared her too much to consider. I'm a shadow without a light source. Trauma didn't make me. I made me. In my position, with my resources and abilities, how could I not do what I have done? It would be an abdication of my responsibility to my species not to. I had her killed afterwards, like I had always intended. I avoid intoxication. Social situations demand that I sometimes put on a show, but I am not in the habit of relinquishing control without getting something in return. That's out the window tonight. Just received the final report from the archaeology teams. Every geographic site we've linked to inhuman origins shows the same signs. Unmistakably extraterrestrial. This changes things. If they've been here once. I've opened a bottle, locked the doors, and blacked out the security system long enough for me to sink into oblivion for an evening. I deserve it. I am so lonely. I don't need something so trite or squalid as companionship. What I need is the one thing I cannot have. Someone I can depend on. I'm so tired of doing this alone. I just need there to be more of me. I don't blame the rest of them for resisting what AIM must do. Not everyone can see what's coming. If they understood what I was doing and why, they would try to worship me. But no. They must be dragged, kicking and screaming into salvation. I accept that.
Is this helicarrier designed for conflict?
I don't appreciate Stark Industries setting roots in my own backyard without so much of a courtesy call. Tony loves to play this all off like the natural growth of the Avengers, but this whole thing reeks of his ego, just like the inside of his tin tux. I know you're working closely with him, and I don't want to sour your working relationship, but sometimes you'll find you just need to outmaneuver him, or else he's always going to construct a scenario where he's the hero on center stage. PIM Technologies has been in the region doing similar work on clean energy generation, but he never even bothered to talk to us, because it's all about him, not about the science. And the public will eat it up. Anyway, I'm ranting. I'm glad you reached out, Monica. You could use someone who knows Tony and what he's capable of in your corner. I just want to make sure he doesn't take advantage of you. He's good at that. Hank Pym, Pym Technologies.
Her Majesty the Princess Shuri of Wakanda. Received your latest proposal for the redesign of the shield, and I must say, I'm a little overwhelmed. I am beyond grateful for your continued generosity for both the vibranium and the designs, of course. But I didn't anticipate so many options. After reviewing the possibilities for adding functionality and upgrades, my gut tells me that every new complexity is a potential for failure. Not that anything designed by you would be prone to failure, of course, but the simplest tool is often the strongest. I worry, as we expand and grow, that we forget that at our own peril. As far as the look, I am drawn to the simple and familiar. I intended to graciously decline any redesigns, but one caught my eye. 37th page, 5th design down. It's almost the same, but you've made the star a little larger, like it's reaching out with all 5 arms, trying to protect just a little more of the world. I like that. At the risk of being too on the nose, it feels right. Best, Steve.
I'm glad you asked, sir. I do have concerns about the Terrigen project. I think with the increasing media prominence of the Avengers, a continued close relationship with S.H.I.E.L.D. could expose us. We are fundamentally a covert government agency, and the Avengers wear brightly colored outfits while performing large-scale magic tricks for the public on a daily basis. And now we're being asked to stretch even further and tie our fates together even closer? It could be risky. I'm sure you've considered said risks, but you asked for my opinion. But the pieces are already in motion for the West Coast Initiative, so what I'm gonna do is my job, and hold it together on this course. Because that's what you trust me to do, and in the end, that's all that matters. I have faith in you, and you have faith in me, and I won't let you down.
My friends, I must leave you. Now, do not weep. There are many alehouses in this land of oaks, and I must see them all. But I will return, and likely on a Thursday. For I have been told by Emily and her companions that the shepherd's pie here is passable, which would make it quite good indeed for America. But, of course, I will return. This is my home now, is it not? I am Thor, now of the West Coast. You know, there are others among the Avengers who have not embraced our expansion. Some of them, and I shan't name names, Bruce, fear that our reach exceeds our grasp. As if such a triviality could concern a god. On such a trivia night as this. This is a new journey. And like all journeys, it is an adventure to be embraced. Lustily. Lustily. Lovely word. Lustily. It's fun to say. Our benighted public relations acolytes would not approve that I told you these things, so I ask you not to record what I have said tonight on your cellular phones. If you have already done so, and yes, I am looking right at you, then promise me this footage is for your own enjoyment and not for your false friends on the computers. Promise? Good.
With the West Coast office, I'm gonna be on 3-4 times as many flights. And, the Hulk hates flying. It's like, jamming a bowl in a china shop, 30,000 feet up. But it's gonna happen. He has to do it. On the other side of the scale, there's Tony's project. There's being the Avengers. Literally saving the world in as many ways as we can. And Monica. So much more time with Monica. Okay. I think I can make this work. Hulk will just, have to deal with it. And, all things being equal, future looks bright.
Bruce, I am so thrilled to have you fully on board. I know you weren't on the cheerleading squad for the West Coast Initiative, and I hear your reservations. I really do. Man, I haven't felt like this since we first formed the Avengers. That exultation and pride and terror all at once. It's like the first time you skydive with a chute that you made yourself. And yes, I am absolutely petrified. It's not just the Avengers on the line, it's everything Stark. I've thrown my whole heart and body into this. I stay up every night wondering if, when, and how I will end up regretting this. But then, every day, getting to work with you on the Terrigen Project, and knowing that we are literally writing history, that's worth anything. We are dragging a better tomorrow into existence by the force of our will, and we're doing it together. Honestly, it makes me choke up a bit. If you tell anyone this, I will tell them about the thing with the birthday cake at Clint's 40th. No, I have not forgotten. Love you, buddy.
I caught that look you gave me at the briefing. Or I guess, you caught the look I was trying not to give you. So let's get it out there. No, I do think the initiative is the best move forward for the Avengers. Yes, I think we're doing more good for more people this way. That's why we get up in the morning. So of course I'm on board. That doesn't mean I have to like every minute of it. I can't weigh my cynicism against the real, tangible benefits of what we're doing, so I won't. But you asked. People love us. Today. But everyone knows who we are now. The more we grow, the higher a pedestal they put us on. That's a long way to fall, Cap. And if there's one thing I know, it's how fast people can turn on you. So let's do this, by all means. But let's not pretend it doesn't come with risk.
It was an excellent idea you had, logging the little safety violations Tony makes every time he bothers to show up in the laboratory late and wearing those awful rubber sandals with socks. I'm not optimistic enough to think it would ever amount to anything, but in some little way, it makes me feel like I have some control. If we were bold enough to take Terrigen to its logical conclusion, we wouldn't need people like him anymore. To have power like they wield, concentrated and unaccountable, it's an unsustainable system. The more I get to know them, the more I wonder how the world has made it this far without catastrophe. I don't resent Tony for what he's done as an Avenger, but I resent how they all justify their own existence as necessary when they're largely the architects of all our misfortune to begin with. Superhumans are a self-fulfilling prophecy, and I want out. Terrigen was supposed to be the way. I appreciate your ear, Monica. I feel surrounded these days, and it's good to have someone with similar interests to commiserate with.
A-Day, one of the greatest tragedies in our country's history. The Avengers unveiled their first helicarrier, the Chimera, equipped with an experimental reactor, powered by the newly discovered element, Terrigen. It was a day of celebration and patriotism. But soon after the festivities commenced, it was clear something was very wrong. As can be seen in the archival footage, explosions on the Golden Gate Bridge split the Avengers' focus. By the time it was clear another attack had begun on the Chimera itself, Captain America was the last remaining Avenger aboard the vessel. The Chimera rose, as it was designed to do. Reports indicated a strange, low-frequency vibration as the Chimera crossed the bay. People felt it as far away as downtown San Francisco. Soon, the once still waters of the bay became choppy and agitated. Bystanders on the scene at A-Day recorded strange electrical emissions from the Chimera arcing to the waters of the bay. It was clear that something was happening aboard the helicarrier. With crowds fleeing in confusion and terror, the shaking dramatically increased in intensity. Buildings began to collapse across the city. Footage was captured of the Avengers desperately attempting to protect the crowds from the destruction, but it just wasn't enough. From the gathered footage of the crowds at the shoreline, it appeared there was some kind of explosion deep inside the helicarrier's hull. The shaking ceased, and for one brief moment, the Chimera hovered high above the bay, and then it fell like a rock into the waters below. It appeared the danger had passed, but then, from the Chimera's windows and portholes, a strange, dense blue mist belched forth, rapidly spreading across the waters, and then the city itself. Disaster aboard the Avengers flagship, the Chimera, leveled San Francisco, killing hundreds. Dozens of survivors infected with dangerous, unnatural abilities. The inhuman condition. Even the esteemed Dr. Banner couldn't deny the Avengers' negligence. In the weeks following A-Day, a congressional committee was formed to investigate those responsible. Tony Stark was implicated, with evidence submitted by George Tarleton and Monica Rappaccini suggesting that their warnings of the potential dangers of the Chimera's reactor were ignored. With Captain America killed in the event, Dr. Bruce Banner stepped in to answer for their part in the tragedy. He admitted, under oath, that they were aware of possible faults in the new reactor. With public pressure mounting, Dr. Banner agreed that the Avengers should disband. Ms. Romanoff, would you say you are the second in command?
How many times do I have to explain this? We take the safety of civilians with utmost seriousness. And what happened on A-Day couldn't have been predicted, and we did everything we could to minimize the loss of life.
So, you're saying, for the record, that the Avengers do not pose a risk to the citizens of this country?
I am saying that again. Is short-term memory a common problem among senators from...
Why, then, would your colleague, Dr. Banner, say otherwise?
Sorry, what?
In his interview, Dr. Banner stated, in no uncertain terms, that he believed the Avengers could, and continue to be, a source of potential danger to the populace. When was the last time you had contact with Mr. Odinson?
A few weeks after A-Day.
Ah. And, at that point, what did he have to say?
He blamed himself. And us for Cap's death. He said he was going out on his own to find another way to do good where he didn't put people in danger. We already hadn't seen each other in weeks when he put his hammer down at Cap's statue. You already knew that.
Now, your transformation into the Hulk is not just at will. There are also emotional stimuli that can trigger the change and affect the duration, yes?
Yes. During times of extreme stress, the Hulk takes over for long periods of time.
And does that concern you, given the events of the last few months?
It does. It does.
Could the same not be said for the rest of you? A self-proclaimed god, an erratic genius, a Soviet-born assassin, and a barely controllable monster. In light of recent events, can you say the Avengers pose no threat to the good citizens of this country?
No, sir. No, I can't.
Attention all personnel. Effective immediately, this SHIELD facility is officially decommissioned. While I am aware that the work is incomplete, a full evacuation is imperative. All employees are to return to SHIELD Central for immediate debriefing and reassignment. All assets formerly assigned to this facility are to be left untouched. Do not approach the main site. Vacate in a quiet, orderly manner. I remind you that with the closing of this facility pursuant to SHIELD Regulation 802, all agents are expressly forbidden to disclose any information about the whereabouts of this facility, nor any activities that were conducted on site. Commander M. Hill.
We're leaving everything behind. All the hardware, the drives, everything. I don't like this any more than you, but given the circumstances, I don't think we have a choice. Hill gave me one exception. Quinjet F-530 should be scrubbed from the manifest. No one from AIM will know it's here. Per your other concern, we'll flush the network before we shut the lights off. It's clear AIM does not have the same priorities as us, so I'm not taking chances. We've had shakeups before, but I'll be honest, since A-Day, this is uncharted territory for us all. In 6 months, my guess is SHIELD will be dissolved entirely. I know you're freaked out, and that's good, because so am I. But I need you to keep up appearances for now. I've got your back.
I wanted to take... I want to take this moment to personally apologize to the American...
It's been almost 5 years since the tragic events of A-Day, But in that time, advanced idea mechanics has risen from the ashes of the Bay Area like a phoenix. Under the visionary leadership of Dr. Tarleton, AIM has set out to do nothing less than transform the world. Dr. Tarleton's vision was simple. Humanity cannot depend on the fickle whims of costumed superhumans for protection. Scientific progress must uplift us all. From that brave and innovative mission statement, AIM has become a world leader in industries once dominated or overshadowed by the Avengers: security, defense, and energy. If I told you there was a nuclear weapon loose in the United States, in the hands of one man with a history of psychological issues, you would rightly be terrified. Until recently, that was exactly the case with the Avengers. Now, it is up to us to keep our communities safe. Superhumans can never be in full control of the powers they wield. It is paramount that we all protect each other. If you see something, say something. We cannot afford another A-Day. In a way, it was inevitable. AIM was forged in the tragic fires of A-Day, an organization dedicated to bettering the lives of the ordinary people who had suffered a great tragedy. Today, AIM brings that altruistic spirit full circle as they undertake the most noble initiative yet, the restoration of the San Francisco Bay. With full operational control, AIM will bring their most cutting-edge technologies to bear in this Herculean effort. Now, with advances in autonomous labor devices and drone-controlled machinery, no human being needs to expose himself to the dangers that still linger in the Bay.
In just 5 years, advanced idea mechanics has topped technology markets across the spectrum, from personal electronics and medical devices to self-driving vehicles. Eclipsing their competitors with a dizzying release schedule and remarkably effective supply chain, AIM is now poised to transform the lives of most of the planet. The lion's share of the company's advances have come from the mind of brilliant CEO George Tarleton. But equally important is his partner and CTO, Monica Rappaccini, the mastermind behind AIM's now renowned R&D group. Together, they have secured several lucrative government contracts.
Don't get mad, Abu. I'm just stretching my arms. If they saw me out here. I mean, I'm freaking out. No way. The Chimera. I found them. I can't believe I found them. Here we go.